Hello everyone, this is Marlo Nama. Welcome back to another year of Squaretember. And I'm starting right where I left off last year, with the Final Fantasy XIII Trilogy. Whew. Where to begin? These games have a love-hate relationship. Now, to start off with positives, a few of the characters are great, mainly the main female lead male, but the other two, Vanille and Hope, they're annoying as hell. But the game looks absolutely beautiful, even by today. I mean, they really put work into the graphics and everything. The storyline, while extremely confusing, it's convoluted until way later in the game, probably because of how the game rushes you. Now, I really would like to admit that Final Fantasy XIII and XIII-2 and Lightning Returns are not good games, sadly. Does that mean they're bad? No, no way. I mean, there are some things that work and some things that do not. I mean, hell, there's several low points in this series, like the initial launch of Final Fantasy XIV. Yes, I'll get to that. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest and All the Bravest, and I will get to those eventually. Now, the story sounds very good on paper, but it's not what you have, but how you use it. As you'll finally notice, what's completely wrong with it is the pacing. The linear as hell pacing of the story that started to become a series staple since Final Fantasy X when they removed the overworld map, is now fully fleshed out here. To keep that in mind, the game was not intended to be this linear. Hell, it wasn't even intended to have 3 installments. They basically had to create 2 new games to expand more on the story and make up for the linear 2/3 of the first game. The main reason is that the game was rushed out the door, in my opinion. Hell, that's why they had to cut a lot of areas in the game that were intended to be explorable. I mean, Lightning's house was actually supposed to be an actual part in the game where players can visit to, and that ended up being scrapped from the final product. And the reason they cut all this out was because they wanted to make a release deadline of a Japanese holiday release and a spring North American and European release, which has since been very classic of Square in that time. They probably want to beat the deadline for the end of their fiscal year just to meet their sales quota. You could say that the developers probably couldn't get the interactive towns that are typical of JRPGs down before a deadline, so whoever was probably in charge of it said, you know what, let's just cut those areas so we can get this game out as soon as possible and as functional as possible. At least it didn't have the same problems as Angel of Darkness or Arkham Knight did when it was ported to the PC. And thank God they did not do this to Grand Pulse. Thankfully, Grand Pulse is an area you could explore. The Seath missions are pretty rewarding and everything, but we will never forget the linear hallway because they're trying to make, oh well, they're refugees on the run from the Foul Sea. That's no excuse. Well, they could just hide their tattoos, which is what they do throughout the entire game. Then they'd be able to have that traditional town interaction, like the city of Nautilus could be revisible and be this game's gold saucer. Now, I don't want to be harping on the same issue because it's essentially beating a dead horse, but the battle system I liked, except for controlling different characters within the same battle, similar to the Gambit system in Final Fantasy XII, which is going to be thankfully used again in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, if any plans haven't changed yet. Now I have to rant about is the auto battle tab. Who thought this was a good idea? Why do you need an auto battle tab? I mean, the game shouldn't play itself. I mean, what's the fun of having the battle play itself out? There's no strategy making when you push that option. Who thought that people were too dumb to make decisions on their own? And being strategic in battle, well, it's only beneficial for the first quarter of the game, but then in boss battles later on in the game when enemies get stronger, it's just suicide that's just gonna bite you in the ass. Oh, and if you thought the storyline was confusing in the first game, just wait until 13.2 and Lightning Returns. They screwed it up even worse because now they've added time travel, so this has now become Chrono Trigger and Majora's Mask put together in the two other installments. Now in 13.2 you actually play as Lightning's sister, Sarah, and she's actually greeted by Noel Kreis from 3,000 or so years in the future or something like that, and they go on a journey through time to save Grand Pulse and Cocoon or something like that some guy, Caius, is trying to stop from the realm of Valhalla where lightning is trapped. Again, this story is 13.2 is far more confusing and more difficult to follow than 13 could have been. And I did not like at all the minigames in 13.2, at all. I mean, the Colosseum is just boring and repetitive. I mean, I had more fun with the Blitzball minigame in Final Fantasy X, and that's saying a lot. And, Lightning Returns? Well, I haven't played it, so I can't really tell, and I don't even bother to, because there's not much to offer, but, the end of the world and being reborn in a new one, and that's pretty much it. They just wanted to wrap up the story because people were probably getting tired asking questions, what the hell just happened, or how does the story end? And there you have it. Now, Final Fantasy XIII, it would really only be worth it if you do not mind linear gameplay. And again, it's only for half of the game. But again, if you happen to come by it, it is worth a short rental period on the PlayStation rentals on your PS3 or your Xbox rentals on Xbox One, but I will tell you, avoid the Steam version at all cost. So I really hope you enjoyed this review and retrospective, and I will come on and cover the online games of 11 and 14, and both installments of 14, and I'm gonna get into a hell of a big rant this time, so don't miss out. This is Marlo Nama, signing off.
Thanks for watching. I really hope you liked this video. If you want to check out more from Marlo Nama, please hit the subscribe button below, or go to my website at www.marliomedia.com. And if you really like the content, be sure to support me on Patreon or follow me on Twitch TV. And as always, sign on.